I made almost $160,000 selling on Amazon. My family and I have run one of the most successful coffee shops here in San Francisco, California. So I decided to sell on Amazon, and in just short 4 years, we did close to $150,000 in sales. And in this video, I'm going to share with you step by step how I started my Amazon business. And at the end of the video, I'm going to share with you the top 3 mistakes that I made, including one mistake that cost me over $15,000. So pay attention so that you don't make the same mistake. I hired a designer and I paid them $15,000 to essentially rebrand our entire company and come up with some beautiful packaging. After the design came the product photography, which cost me $3,000. The next step was to get professional barcodes, and that cost me $100. And then there was the $39.99 Amazon seller account fee, plus a trademark that cost me $300. I then contacted our local importer and got some raw coffee samples. Once we went through the samples, I spent around $8,000 and purchased our raw coffee inventory, and then another $1,600 on shipping. And in total, I spent $28,000 starting my Amazon FBA business. My name is Hrag, and I never wanted to work for my dad's coffee shop. As a kid, I hated it, but I always knew I wanted to succeed in business. So I majored in economics, got a job in corporate finance, and was a manager of insights and analytics. And because of that, when my dad was thinking of retiring, I wanted to help him leave a long-lasting legacy. But at that same time, my job became very political. That left me with a very bitter taste in my mouth. I had to make a decision: stay in the corporate world and put my head down and move forward, or look at this family business as a way to enhance the heritage, culture, and my father's legacy in coffee. In 2012, my wife and I were buying a lot of things online, including on Amazon, and I thought I could do the same by selling our freshly roasted coffee beans on the Amazon platform. As soon as that idea hit me, I never looked back. Customers think of a dark roast, they typically have a negative connotation with that because it will taste burnt or bitter. But my father's 40 years of coffee roasting knowledge is what makes our dark roasts very unique in that they are extremely smooth. Make sure to hit that like button. That helps us grow as well. That's exactly how I grew the business. It starts with just one order, and it'll start all with you by hitting that like button, helping us promote how small businesses have started selling on Amazon. The first expense was research, but this business was different than most FBA businesses that you see on Amazon, because we already had an amazing success in our retail cafe shop. My family has owned a famous coffee shop in San Francisco for 3 generations now. When I started working there, we built a small website, but it really wasn't built for a large consumer base. One thing that I did know by doing a lot of research online as well as on Amazon was it's all about the story and not the product. People need to connect with the business. So I renamed the business. It used to be called House of Coffee, and I renamed it to Henry's House of Coffee in honor of my dad. It cost me $15,000 to design my brand and my packaging, and I used a professional agency for that. I then spent $3,000 to get photos taken of my product. I found the photographer by reaching out to some of my vendors that I work with and asking them if they had any recommendations. Doing the packaging, the branding, and the logos cost me $18,000 altogether. But I understand as a new Amazon seller, this could be way too expensive for you. And this is why Travis has mentioned a company called FBA Creatives. They will take care of your packaging design, and they will even do your bullet points and product description. Plus, it's very affordable. And there's going to be a link in the description to check them out. Usually when you start a business, you get yourself an LLC to protect the business. Because the coffee shop had been around for over 50 years, we already had an S corporation set up. But I know most people start from scratch. So if you don't know yet, setting up an LLC will cost you about $200. And you can either do it yourself or hire an agency to do it for you. So if you need help in that space, you can always check out wyregisteredagent.net. I recommend getting an LLC or a limited liability company for your business, because if you ever get sued, an LLC will separate your personal from your business assets. You could also get a DBA for $99 from LegalZoom. And DBA means doing business as. And that's the business name that you use to operate under tax purposes. And it's great for marketing and branding, but it won't protect you from any legal services in case you get sued. My next cost was $300 for a trademark. I got the trademark through a friend of mine who happened to be a trademark lawyer. And if you want to get a trademark yourself, you could either hire a lawyer or you could go to the USPTO website. It then cost me $8,000 to get the raw inventory from my importer. And that was for the coffee bag. Now, if you're looking for a manufacturer for your own product, Alibaba.com is great. You can find hundreds of manufacturers from Asia to India. You can use thomasnet.com to actually find manufacturers here in the United States. Or you can just Google the product that you want plus manufacturer. I knew that coffee was popular. We've been in this retail space for over 40 years. And we were doing great. But moving online had some challenges. Success doesn't automatically translate from retail to online. It's literally like starting all over again. So you'll see a lot of these startup costs as you start your own Amazon business. And before using our 12-ounce bags and shipping it out to Amazon, before making any money, I've already spent over $26,000. That's a lot of money. But I knew there was a huge opportunity because there are literally millions of people using Amazon every single day, and that I could take advantage of that and sell my product directly to them. And if you want to sell on Amazon, Travis has a ton of great videos on how to start up your Amazon FBA business and how to sell directly through them. He also has a 10-hour free Amazon course, and he has a link for that in the description below. That's why I wanted to share my story here on this channel. But there are some more costs that I have before we get into my first month of sales. My next cost was $1,600 to ship 7 boxes of coffee. We got our raw coffee beans from our supplier, shipped directly to our store. Then we did the roasting and the packing ourselves and shipped all of that over to Amazon. But if you're ordering products from overseas, that might be different for you. Typically, manufacturers either ship via air or by sea. Shipping via sea is a lot cheaper, but it also takes much longer. Shipping via air is a lot more expensive, but it's super fast. But if your manufacturer is from the US, then you're probably getting it delivered by truck, which is going to be cheaper and faster than air or sea. Then it cost me $100 to get my UPC codes. UPC stands for Universal Product Code. That's the barcode that you see on the back of any product when you're scanning it at a checkout. You can go to gs1.org and get one for 30 bucks. And then it cost me $39.99 a month to set up my Amazon Central account. But so far, I spent $28,000 starting this Amazon side of the business. I was just about to launch, and this was really exciting, especially because Amazon is a $1 trillion company, and because there are hundreds of millions of customers on Amazon. So I knew there was a huge opportunity. I made over $49,000 in my first year selling on Amazon. But it's important to know that that's revenue, not profit. And there's a lot of fees that you have to pay when selling on Amazon. I paid around $7,000 for the Amazon 15% referral fee, which is what you pay just to sell on the Amazon platform, which is worth it because, like I said, Amazon has hundreds of millions of customers. And there's no other marketplace that has this type of opportunity for sellers like me. Then I paid $12,000 for FBA, which is what Amazon does when they pick, pack, and ship your product directly to the customer. You have to pay a fee every time you get an order. But it's really worth it because you don't have to spend your time packing, filling, and shipping it yourself. And out of that, I spent $8,000 for the products that I sold that year. Then I paid another $10,000 for advertising on Amazon, which includes PPC, or pay per click. And I'll explain that here in just a second, but in my first year, I made around $10,000 in profit just selling on Amazon. We knew the people loved the coffee in person, but to see the great reviews and the amount of love that we saw on Amazon was just outstanding. I knew we were on the right track, but we did a big mistake of spending $15,000, and I'll get to that in just a second. And in my second year, I made over $40,000 selling on Amazon. It cost me around $6,500 to manufacture the products that I sold, and $6,000 for my 15% Amazon referral fee, plus $10,000 on my Amazon FBA fee, and I spent over $11,000 on PPC. And in my second year on Amazon, we made around $6,000 in net profit. In year 2, we made a lot less profit, but that's because we spent a lot of almost $11,000 on advertising. This is all because I went with a different advertising company. I wanted the most sales, and I wanted to build my sales and my business on Amazon really quickly. But I wanted to partner with people that said they could help, but they actually took us a step backwards. It was really discouraging, but I wasn't about to let some advertising agency kind of ruin our heritage and our tradition of coffee roasting and my desire to grow our business on Amazon. We made over $43,000 selling in my 3rd year on Amazon. After taking out all those expenses that I mentioned, we ended up with $3,000 in profit. That was a pretty difficult pill to swallow. I had spent so much money on advertising that we barely made anything. And if you don't know, PPC stands for paid per click. That's where you can have your paid listing show up at the top of a search result. And you pay a small fee every time somebody clicks on your listing. And you don't have to go with an advertising company either. You can learn to operate PPC yourself. In fact, Travis shares how you could harness Amazon PPC on his channel. And he's got some really good tips on his Amazon FBA course. I wanted to try it one more time, so I put a lot of money into advertising for the business. And at that time, I didn't think Amazon was going to be a big channel for me. So I took a huge risk and decided to try one more thing online. I wanted to try a different way of selling that was more viable for my business. It wasn't just the coffee beans that I was putting at risk here. It was the risk of losing the heritage, the legacy, all of that stuff and time and patience that my father had put into the business. So I couldn't give up on it. But I also wasn't about to put good money after bad money. So I stopped paying for advertising altogether. And it had a very surprising effect. So last year in 2024, it was our lowest year revenue yet. When we first started, we made almost $50,000 in the first 12 months. And after all the ups and downs of the advertising, in 2024, we made close to $24,000 in revenue. But here's the surprising result. After taking out all of my expenses, we actually ended up making almost $10,000 in net profit. That's the same amount of profit as my first year. And we didn't spend anything on advertising. So I was shocked. And I realized I've been spending all this money on advertising agencies when I finally saw that I could just let the product live on Amazon and grow organically. So after all that work, in 4 years, we've made around $159,000 in revenue just by selling our coffee beans on Amazon. And after taking all of those costs like advertising and the 15% to Amazon, we're left with around $28,000. I did keep our direct website, and that itself has been a massive success. In fact, I make a lot more money selling directly from our website than I do on Amazon. But being present on Amazon is a necessity, and it was amazing to see my product continuing to sell and grow on Amazon. It's important for me to sell directly on our website because that way I can own and manage the customer data. And I can use that information to create lookalike audiences on Facebook and Instagram and advertise to more customers. And I can track things like the customer lifetime value. I can sell promotional emails or texts to keep the customers engaged and coming back and ordering more coffee directly from my website. And all of that allowed me to grow my online business to over $1 million over the past year. But even so, I could have probably made more money selling on Amazon if I avoided these 3 mistakes. So pay attention so that you don't make the same mistakes. The first mistake was choosing the wrong help, which cost me $5,000. When I was building the online business, we needed that small website first. We got some quotes and bids, and I quickly just chose somebody. But they took way too long, and they just weren't right for what I was looking for. When you're looking to get designers, developers, whatever it may be, do your research and get a bunch of quotes. Because I ran into this twice by partnering up with the wrong ad agency. This mistake cost me $10,000 over a 2-year span. I wanted the brand fast, and I wanted the sales really fast. So I partnered up with an ad agency who promised me the world. But the results, they weren't that great. It took me 4 years to figure out that I could make the same amount of profit without advertising as I did in my first year. So do your research and talk to others. And my third mistake was launching a new brand. This mistake cost me $15,000. My coffee was popular, and I wanted to expand the brand. We launched a new brand based on Lebanese coffee in Southern California. We got into retail spaces like supermarkets and small cafes. But I didn't have anybody to give out samples like you would see in a supermarket, and so nobody really knew about it. So sales really flat. But failure, that's part of the growth. I learned from my lessons. Why focus on something new when I have an established brand, and just to focus on that and help grow that even more. And I know you can be a success too if you do it as well. You don't need to own a 3-generation family business. You can start selling something brand new and make your own income. So check out Travis's channel, The Passion Product Formula. Watch his free 10-hour video on how to sell on Amazon and help your product and your idea become a reality. Because there's nothing more rewarding than having an idea and turning that into a real life product.